months of days will be spent discussing Kasar. Babri Masjid will be discussed. Some rape case will be discussed. But, whether it is Bangalore Lakshman, whether there are two Bs, this will be discussed. Have you ever seen a serious discussion on national security, operational preparedness? Not once in my 60 years I have ever seen Parliament. Why are they not getting it? Because the knowledge is not there. It is generally apathy, general indifference. Why this indifference? Because this topic is not a vote bank topic. Babri Masjid is a vote bank topic. Bangalore Lakshman is a vote bank topic. National security is not a vote bank topic. So therefore this indifference continues for the last 60 years. That's the only reason. Right. Now, apart from this, if you have never worked in the army quarters, I have been meeting the defense minister. The political activity is intense. They are living from day to day. Why day to day, hour to hour? AM something is happening, PM something is happening. There is always firefighting by the political bosses. And who are the defense ministers put? The best person is put in the finance because it's the most tricky thing. He has to be knowledgeable. Somebody asks what is GDP, you should not say some G, what is G for? I know G, other G's, but what is this G? You can't ask that. So they put a knowledgeable person. Always a troublesome. You put a chap, he may not be knowing internal security, but he should be a good English speaking person every time. And then you get a Oxford, Harvard person with no knowledge, but yet he will be there. Right. Then what do you do with the senior cronies who have to be given plum post, defense and foreign affairs? Who wear, what is the coat you call it? French one, I forget the name. Nice beat coat, made in France, whatever. Such person put in foreign affairs. Armani, whatever. That type. Right? And then he put in defense, who has been most loyal. These are the criteria. And then the ministries are allotted as per seniority. And then it is, in barter system. You want 3. These 3. They will say no. What tamasha takes place? I have witnessed this tamasha. 4 prime ministers, when they were sworn in, as military secretary I was there. They just talk the better. Right. So, with this intense political activity, even with the best of intentions and in the best of times, the Raksha Mantri doesn't have time for defense affairs, strategical. You go and sit there to discuss very important thing. I am talking of 10, 12 years back. I am not hinting at anybody, but this is usual for everybody. When you are discussing an important thing, 20 telephone calls come. There is crisis in Kerala, there is crisis in the party. OIC, then after 20 minutes I am coming. All the important discussions he will throw it and for next 10 days. You brief the joint secretary there. And that's the end of it. So that takes priority. Raksha Mantri doesn't find time because of this intense political activity. That is the first civil-military relation problem. Right. The second one. The Ministry of Defense is very unique unlike other ministries. Why? National security matters of military is very serious business. You go to the US, the best person is in the defense ministry. The person selected are war veterans who have seen war, they know exactly what it is. And you have to take decisions pertaining to national security, internal security. And then these decisions have to be absolutely precise and in time. And there is no time. So therefore and then the worst problem is, unless you have interaction with the military hierarchy, you cannot understand these military matters. There is no interaction at all. I do not know why people shun uniform and the civilian supremacy doesn't permit uniform to come closer. There must be friendliness. There must be familiarity without breeding contempt. There must be understanding made through this. But at the same time, you assert with your hand because you are the boss. But that familiarity would have given you first-hand information. This does not happen. There is very rarely interaction. You see the chiefs in parties with the Raksha Mantri. In the television. Have you ever seen in any serious discussion where Raksha Mantri and others sitting and discussing operational requirements? Never in one seminar they will be together. But this is our problem. So Ministry of Defense, this interaction is missing, leading to strain in civil-military relations. The third important point is right. We are a proletarian army. We are not army from the lords, from like other countries. The army is drawn, officers class, is drawn from middle class and lower middle class, a proletarian, which always deferred to the wishes of civilian supremacy. Yes sir, that's it. 3 bags full, right or wrong. That's how we have been trained. Never to question it. Sometimes I wonder whether we are doing the right thing. We must question the legitimate things. But then that is how the army is made. So therefore, how does the civilian supremacy gap this bridge, this gap by the bureaucracy? And that's where the problem starts. Right. How does that problem manifest? The man who is in control, the civilian elected representative who is in control, feels more comfortable with civilian bureaucracy where there is no uniform board. You know, if you were to say, suppose I come in uniform, I would already distance myself, whether it's incidental or I do not know. But if I have come in civil, even though in your mind I am an army man, but at least the gap is bridged. But this psyche continues, even at the highest level. So therefore, they are close to the bureaucracy. They don't have time to take decisions. So therefore, from mundane decisions to even the policy decisions, crisis management, you know, every firefighting, everything is done by bureaucracy. So what has happened? Over a period of time, the civilian supremacy has handed over the reins to the bureaucratic supremacy. This is not good. They respect civilian supremacy. But where is the bureaucrats who have come from generalistic cadre suddenly become experts in military affairs where 40 years of the chief is not an expert? This is one of the reasons for the strain in the military. Right. Now I talk about the bureaucracy. I have a lot of respect for bureaucracy. Some of them are outstanding. You know, we have people like Menons who have risked his neck. There is one there, I was reading the other day, one of the Chennai young person who followed rules. My own brother-in-law was posted in Sangareddy in Hyderabad. You know, he was known as Palu Chakravarti. You know, he brought a milk scheme and became popular. So Brahmananda Reddy was the chief minister, then called in and said, go slow, the MLA is getting very annoyed. So go slow on this project. But this is our polity. You know, the civilian people are caught up with the bureaucrats and the other people whom they have to work. Now bureaucracy may be accused of anything, from obduracy, from lack of decisions, and to even malice. Most of them are overrated. I don't subscribe that our bureaucrats can be ascribed to all this. They are good. But one thing, uniformly, everybody can ascribe is they are resistant to change. One example I will give you. One of my friends who is ex-naval chief is a member of a task force for security reforms, formed 10 to 12 years back. Till today, not one decision has been taken. 12 years. Reason, bureaucrats put some red tape on, some buttons. Now this attitude has to change. Right. Now what has all this, what I have talked, resulted in? All this has resulted in, we have created an atmosphere of unfriendliness, recrimination and systemic dysfunctionalities. I am not bothered about relation, but I am bothered about systemic dysfunctionalities which is affecting the operational preparedness of the army. One recent example, I don't have to go back in history and give you an example. Tatra, everything is fresh in your mind. You know, for 40, 50 years we have been buying 7,000 trucks and till today we have not been able to produce one truck. They are sending people to moon, they are sending people, the missiles are going off to 6,000, 8,000 kilometers and we can't produce truck. This is systemic dysfunctionality, 40 years. I don't want to go into any more examples. This one is good enough. The chief talked, you know, this 14 crore became a bogey. Then they started shooting the messenger, then the message. You know, in Parliament, I was really pained to see some of the veteran politicians who call themselves veterans, who every time when there is a talk, they say politics, Parliament is supreme. We are supreme people. To whom are you supreme? Supreme is you. Parliament is supreme, but the people are next to supreme. So what did they say? Chief appears to be a traitor. Chief should be sacked. But you know, great people, politicians, seasoned politicians. Is that the statement you go and make it national parliament? In what capacity you are making such statements? The chief talked of ammunition shortage. I will tell you, I have fought war. You know, you don't get notice. You know, these are days of instant. You know, chatmangani batbya. So even marriages take place. Fast food. There is no prepared food. Everything is quick. In those days, we have to keep 40 to 45 days of ammunition reserve. We are down to 7, 8, 10 days, whatever it is. The chief pointed out this ammunition shortage. Is this wrong? Has chief violated the protocol? Chief is entitled to write to the Prime Minister, who is responsible for this country's nation. Tomorrow the chief cannot be blamed. This army was not prepared. This is the responsibility of the civilian government to see that the army is prepared to take everybody. This is very important. Right. The last but one critical factor. Everybody talks of corruption. Anna, Ramdev, X, Y, Z, fine. Why is corruption in the defense sector? Have you ever analyzed? You know, defense is considered a holy cow. Why is corruption entering into it? You know why? I explained to you 2 minutes back. You are all intelligent people to catch on. You know, if you buy equipment from outside, there is no money. Very little money goes outside. If you indigenize, the problem starts. So therefore, no indigenization takes place. You buy it from outside, there is so much kickback money. And where does this money go? To the party funds. So therefore, defense is a golden goose. No political party wants to kill it. And that's the crux of the story. And therefore this carries on. Our scientists are bad. I see all this intelligence here. You give you 24 hours, you will produce a prototype of a truck and produce it. Or Tata. Take anybody, Ashok Leyland. We think we can't produce trucks, but we won't produce it for the next 20 years. Because of this one reason,